Well, I got to be honest with you. This is a really extremely tough report for me to give today because there is so much going on in society. But the Bible predicted that Christians would come under persecution in the latter days for his name's sake. And this is exactly what we are seeing right now, to the level of that if you have certain views that the left and radical progressives don't like, in this case, particular, say, Christian views or even Muslim views, they actually have a similar view in what I'm going to bring up today. But if you have these particular views and you speak out and mention any kind of hate or insults against gender, race, or creed, then you could be looking at 3 years in prison. For example, if there's a pastor up there on the podium talking about scripture that happens to mention homosexuality and there's someone in the audience who doesn't like it, then that pastor goes to prison. I've got a lot to share with you today. Take a look at this article. This is on zerohedge.com. Poland prepares new hate speech law. 3 years in prison for insulting LGBT people. It goes on Wednesday, the Polish Ministry of Justice published a draft amendment to the penal code regarding hate speech on the website of the Government Legislator Center. The new draft is looking to expand classifications regarding hate speech to include age, disability, gender, sex orientation, and gender identity, according to Polish news outlet Do Ryzy. It goes on to state this. In a strong stand against government plans to penalize what it calls hate speech, Poland's Confederation Party asserts the need for free and unrestricted public discourse. The introduction of the proposed solution will ensure enhanced and full criminal law protection against the use of violence or unlawful threats, incitement of hatred, insults, and violations of bodily integrity due to the disability, age, gender, sex orientation, or gender identity of the injured party, reads the draft. The draft also threatens up to 5 years for threats. However, even for insults, just for an insult, which are loosely defined, penalties could be extremely harsh under the new draft law. Provisions regarding gender, sex orientation, gender identity have been added to Article 256, which covers incitement to hatred, and in Article 257 regarding insults. Now, under these new rules, insults against sexual orientation or gender identity will be punished by up to 3 years in prison simply for a freaking insult. Not that I'm okay with insults because I don't freaking like insults. Nobody does. But people don't go to prison for insulting someone, say, hey, who is divorced, or insulting someone who, committed sex outside of marriage, or whatever it is. You can do that all you want, but here it is. And here's the headline that they jumped off us. But Bodnar is preparing changes to the law, 3 years in prison for insulting LGBT people. Now, I'm not for insults. No, I don't like them, but there is a line that has to be drawn because it's very briefly written and an insult can mean a million different things. There's going to be an awful lot of people in prison. Now, before I expand, I got to give a quick shout out to my partner, LisaHavenGold.com. Look, if you are not protected, you have to start protecting yourself. I'm sponsored with them for this reason. And right now, they have some amazing stuff that can help protect you and your family. You can get a 401k, a Roth IRA, an IRA backed by gold, silver, precious metals. You can convert your 401k, but you really want to make sure you have some kind of protection on hand because the Biden administration sucks right now and our entire economy is going down the tubes. But go to LisaHavenGold.com, fill out this info, and get a free ultimate gold and silver investment guide. And by the way, you can give them a call on the number on the screen. Let them know Lisa sent you. And for every approved plan that you do with them, they'll include this 1/4 ounce gold coin with that. This thing is awesome. Make sure you mention my name. All right. So if you want more information, click that more button or click in the description box below. But back to this controversial hate crime bill that's happening right now in Poland. Here's the thing, right? Christians, there's all kinds of scriptures in Christianity, even in other religions that speak against homosexuality. There's also scriptures in Christianity that speak against divorce and speak against sex outside of marriage, speak against lying, cheating, stealing, all of these, some of which I've done in my past, many of us have. But now they're going to literally criminalize speech. and give you 3 years in prison. Imagine how many pastors and religious leaders could end up behind bars. And here's the other kicker. All the Christians that I know absolutely love everyone. That includes divorced people. That includes homosexuals. That includes straight people, whoever the hell you are. God loves everyone at the level that they're at. And I don't agree with insults or anything, but we're supposed to live in a free world and a free country, but that's seeming less and less free. You know, freedom isn't free unless you have the right to offend someone, so to speak, even if you disagree. I may disagree with what you say. I may not like what you say, but you have a right to say it. So this is above and beyond. But if you think it's just Poland, you're in for a shocker. And I know most of you don't. I'm talking more to the liberal audience out there. But here it is. And this is on newssky.com. Scotland's controversial new hate crime law also came into force. And by the way, it came into force on April Fool's Day, right? No, it's not a joke. But Scotland's controversial new hate law has come into force with a wholly rude minister saying people could be investigated for misgendering someone online. Just for misgendering. The new measure aims to tackle the harm caused by hatred and prejudices, but have come under fire from opponents who claim they could stifle free speech and be weaponized to settle scores. It goes on. The Hate, Crime, and Public Order in Scotland Act came into force on Monday, April Fool's Day, April 1st, and aims to provide greater protection for victims and communities. It consolidates existing legislation and introduces new offenses for threatening or abusive behavior, which is intended to stir up hatred based on prejudice toward characteristics such as age, disability, religion, sex orientation, and transgender identity. But when asked whether the misgendering someone on the internet was a crime under the new law, the MSP Minister for Victims and Community Safety said on Monday morning it would be a police matter for them to assess. It could be reported and it could be investigated. Whether or not the police would think it was criminal, well, is up to the police in Scotland. Well, that's a doozy. The police gets to decide whether or not you have committed a crime by saying something offensive about someone's something. Look, I'm going to be a libertarian here because I'm also that, right? I'm libertarian and I'm conservative. Say whatever the hell you want to say. Don't inseminate violence. If you inseminate violence, you're going to jail. I may not agree with what you say. I may not like what you say. I may not like your insults. Hell, you can insult me. I get insulted all the time. But I don't go and, I'm going to report you to the police. People may not like my views as a libertarian. People may not like my views as whatever. Well, as a Christian. So you have a right to not like them, and you have a right to insult, which there's already laws against threats of violence. There's already laws against all of that all over the place. Also in Scotland, by the way, and in Poland. They have these laws already in place. But now you're crossing the line where you say you can't insult anyone. I mean, this is just insane. I don't care if you're for or against Christianity. I don't care if you're for or against say other religious practices, or say for or against homosexuality, or whatever you stand. Personally, I think do what you want to do. It's your life. You have every right to be that if you want to be that. You have every right to be a Christian. You have every right to be a Muslim. You have every right to be a homosexual. You have every right to be a straight person. I am all about freedom to choose whatever you want because God gave us all that freedom to pick. Now, you may or may not like fill in the blank, but you shouldn't be going to prison for simply, there's an insult to someone. I mean, you're talking about insanity here. In fact, Elon Musk calls out the insanity of this, an example of why it is so important to preserve freedom of speech. And I think we really have to take this to heart here in America, because this is exactly what liberals want right here in the U.S. And they're pushing for it, by the way. And Ian Miles Shong says this in his post. Police officers in Scotland are being given training to target social media posts. Yeah, including retweeting something by someone of material deemed threatening and abusive. Under the country's new hate crime law, actors and comedians, are not given a free pass to make jokes about sensitive subjects that offend people either. And here's the thing with that. Comedians make jokes about everyone. It's kind of their forte. So if you make a joke about this is going to end comedy as we know it. There will be no more comedy. But isn't that kind of the objective? Isn't it? Comedy, if people make fun of something that I personally do, I can find humor in that. I absolutely can. I'm fine with that. Because sometimes we need a little bit of a lightened mood to get over whatever hump we're in. And we can laugh at ourselves and make fun of ourselves all day long. But now they have no free pass to be a comedian. Talk about death of the industry. What are you going to joke about then? Oh, you can't joke about, single moms, or you can't joke about the family line, or you can't joke about, whatever. That's kind of the point of comedy, right? It goes on, Ian goes on to say that the new training provided to officers, which was leaked to the Herald, requires police officers to go after anyone who produce material deemed threatening and abusive, which also can be communicated through public performance of play under the new hate crime law. People who make fun of or misgender trans people, make racial jokes or criticisms of certain religions, or criticize migrants even, can be prosecuted. How dare you talk about someone coming across the border illegally? Don't call them illegal immigrants. God forbid you'll get turned in. You got to call them documented, undocumented people, or people with documents, or whatever the hell new term is. I don't even know anymore. Never mind the fact that a crime has actually been committed and it's against law. This is what Democrats want. And if they actually get it, there will be no more Republicans in office anymore. They will all be taken out. Why? They'll fall under this hate speech. You can't speak against migration, illegal migration specifically. I'm all for doing it the legal way because it's legal. I'm against doing it the illegal way for multiple reasons. But one of those is because it's illegal. They're not just undocumented. They've committed a criminal act to get into our country while people are literally paying tens of thousands of dollars to come and do it legally. It doesn't seem quite fair. But again, this all goes off the fact that they're monitoring your social media accounts. You so much as retweet something. And let me just go on a little bit of a tangent. So if they make it a hate crime, say, for example, Republicans support protections at the border, Democrats do not. If they make it a hate crime to speak against illegal immigration, which basically amounts to this, whose view becomes dominant on the internet? There's only one, the Democrats, because you can't speak against the border issues. You can't speak against illegals or whatever. And if anybody retweets something that, say, someone put out, say, Dan Bongino or whoever, or Tucker Carlson, or Breitbart News, and if you so much as retweet it, now you're on the list, and you could see time in prison. This is what's happening internationally. There will be no more conservatives, because all of it is going to become basically illegal to view and have certain views. I mean, think about it. If they do that here in the U.S., we would have no more Republican views. Zero. Because everybody's not allowed to post something regarding certain things on their social media or on their podcast or on the internet. You won't see it anymore. Even if people do hold certain views, say if they don't want mass illegal immigration coming across the border, right? And how easy would it be to tweak on everything else? Say the abortion issue. Oh, now you're speaking against the rights of the mother. So if you dare so much as post something against abortion, oh, wait, you've committed a crime. See, that only lets the Democrat lights shine. People can have different views on things. Some see it as the baby, some see it as the mom. And I'm kind of a middle ground on that. But I'm just saying, your rights are gone. Your rights and your right to speak are all gone. In fact, speaking of the attacks on Christianity right here in the U.S., we don't have to look very far than what the White House did recently. And Justice Knight did an entire report on my channel on this, a proclamation of Transgender Day of Visibility on 2024. This was published March 29th. This is his, we are proud to talk about Transgender Day of Visibility or whatever. And here's the thing, it fell on, guess what? Easter! Only 70% of the United States of America celebrate Easter. And he's going to put this at the forefront. That's an attack on Christianity. That's an attack on you. They hate you, by the way. If you're a Christian, they absolutely do. Here's another thing on that New York Post. Religious theme designs banned from White House Easter egg art contest. So-called Catholic Joe Biden says, oh, no religious art here for me. We can't be dealing with those kind of Christian people, you know. They hate you. Look, you can hate me all you want. I don't really care. Have your own hate. It's sickening. Then here's another event that happened recently, and this is on Western journalism. Trailer of Bible set on fire in front of a church. In front of a church. That is actually recent. Sad state of affairs that we are all seeing in light of everything going on. Anyhow, with that, I wanted to share all of that with you as a huge reminder. And I mean a big reminder. Because of everything that's happening in society, I am truly and utterly concerned. They're going to shut us all down at some point. You've seen the laws internationally. You saw what they're doing in Poland. You saw what they're doing in Scotland. You see what they're trying to do here in the United States, attacking our Christian religions at the very core. Please join me at restrictedrepublic.com. As kind of an extra added special, I'm going to extend our deal here for $3.99 per month for 2 years. You can get Restricted Republic. I have inside information that you're not getting here on YouTube on Restricted Republic, that it's exclusive to that. And all you have to do is use the coupon code for the monthly RR and the number 4. That's RR and the number 4. And you can get it for that $3.99 per month. For 2 years. But please join us over there. Please support what we do. And this is way less than even a cup of coffee today. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.